Hello class and welcome to week 8. This week we're going to be taking an image and applying colorizing effects to it. So if you already have a color image, you're going to need to convert it to black and white. I'll show you how to do all that. And then you're going to produce a coloring effect. Now for the example that I'll show you at the end of these videos, I only do one slice because just getting this far takes about an hour. This is a very, very long assignment, so make sure that you put aside enough time to actually work on it. And if you're watching this video pretty late in the week because you forgot to check in on the class and now you've only got like 8 hours to do the assignment and everything, well, there are a few videos you may want to skip so you can get to the assignment and then come back to those videos once you've watched those. Basically, pop ahead to video 5, which will be the student examples after this video, and then come back later to, you know what, actually you need to watch the desaturation video to find out how to handle that. So video 4, and then watch on through that. Video 1, 2, and 3 talks about how the Photoshop system handles color profiling and what color profiles are and all that stuff. You can watch those after you've done the assignment. That's fine. Just make sure you actually include your color profile. I'll talk about how to do that in video 8, assembling the assignment. Essentially, when you start your assignment, and I might have glossed over this, you absolutely need to go to Edit and then Assign Profile, and you need to do this at the very beginning of it, and give it the sRGB IEC 6 1966 2.1 profile. I talk about that in the profiling videos and all that, but just to make sure that you know to do that. Maybe write that down. You know, edit, first thing you do, Assign Profile, IEC. It's in the instructions. Go ahead and read those. I also wanted to show you what some of the students have done in the past. These are different from the other student examples. I just really enjoyed these. So you're going to start with some black and white, and so I thought that they did a really good job converting this to black and white. Coloring, they ran out of time. They were still working on the road and then the highlights and stuff like that. Notice that the forest went from being very detailed to less and less detailed as it went through. Again, this is a long assignment, but their black and white conversion was quite excellent, so I wanted to show you that. This is just my little example, so I'll go ahead and close that up for a moment. Don't save. I enjoyed this. There were some issues with the masks in the coloring process. And you'll notice now this is the second one. You start with a color image or a black and white image. If it starts in black and white, that's fine. Convert it to black and white and do any adjustments you need to do. Or if it's black and white, do the adjustments you need to do to really make it pop. Then create a colored version out of that black and white version. So you can see some errors started happening here, but I like the subtle effect. The background was especially nice, which is where they started. Careful not to run out of time on these. Smaller images will be a little bit faster. High resolution is easier to work with than low resolution. Again, check out the last video this week to get more information on how to select and save all this stuff. All right, let's close that up. This one I thought worked out pretty well. Here was the for the black and white. You notice that they did run out of time again in the background. They were having some issues with that, but if we focus in on the machine, they did a good job on the pilot. They did a great job with the propeller blades. Again, they were running out of time on the background, so be very careful with that. But again, a good job converting to black and white. You'll find out that converting to black and white is actually surprisingly tricky to get a really good job on it. So here is the original. Here is the black and white. Skin tone's incredibly hard, so I was really impressed with that. The hair could have used a little more depth in the dark, but the skin tone worked out really well. I really liked what they did with the dress. It was a simple but efficient way to color it. Amazing job on the background. Let's go ahead and move on. This worked out quite well as in the end. So here was the original. Here was the black and white, and then he returned it to the essentially the same sort of realism as the original. Had a little bit of trouble in the blankets. One thing to watch out for. Here's another thing to write down. Beware of bright whites. They're hard to handle when you're colorizing an image. And this one I think worked out quite well, nicely as well. The original was black and white, but they included a black and white layer, absolutely essential, write this down too, absolutely essential that you have a colorized layer, a black and white layer, and an original photo layer. No other layers in the file you turn in. You can have a working file that has thousands of layers named whatever you want, but the one you turn in has to have 3 layers, and not smart objects. They just have to be standard layers. Okay. But this was a very ethereal effect. I thought it was quite nice. I wanted to show this one as well. There was one issue. They forgot to set this to be the final node. Control-Alt-Shift-E. Whoa, wrong thing. Control-Z. Control-Alt-Shift-E to make that an actual layer. Name that layer colorize. And it's ready to go. You don't want this. All these should be in normal mode. Here's the original. Here's the black and white, and I just enjoyed the illustrative quality of this image. I thought that was a lot of fun. So they don't all have to be photorealistic. Photorealism is a great thing to strive for, but if you have a great idea and you follow through, then you're good to go. But keep in mind, again, they forgot to set this up so that it was a normal layer. So don't do that. Make them all normal layers. Here's another masterfully done one. Here's the original photo. They did some adjustments you can see on their black and white, and then they colorized it. And again, skin's incredibly hard. If you're short on time, avoid skin, avoid hair, avoid feathers, avoid fur, and you'll be much happier for it. But if you want a challenge and if you want to impress me, those are some amazing things to work on. So this was some great work. Really liked it. Let's go ahead and move on. This remains one of my favorites. Here is the original photo. Here's the black and white. Now keep in mind, you may want to run a black and white process, and I'll show you how to do that in the videos. Because if it starts off, if there's like a yellow tint or something, you'll see immediately when you convert to black and white. And then they essentially, if I remember correctly, they set the blacks and whites to multiply layer and then colored it underneath it. I don't show you how to do that, but it was a brilliant move. It allowed him to make these gorgeous zebras and color everything else in. So again, the way that would be processed is you essentially make a layer and then you would set something to multiply, and then on that new layer you could come in with brilliant colors and just fill those right in. And this is a good starting point, but not a good ending point. You need to do other adjustments as well in order to not just have this flat effect. And he did just an amazing job. Absolutely brilliant. All right. And we have some more. I wanted to bring this one up. There's can be difficulty in smoke. I think that they did a good job with the dirt, but in doing so, they ran out of time on everything else. So again, make sure you have enough time to do this. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Go ahead and watch those videos. Again, if you have accidentally put this class off and you only have a handful of hours to get all this done, pop on over to the desaturation video. I'll show you how to desaturate everything. I'll go over more student examples, and I'll talk a little bit more in depth about what to do with all that. Then preparing, if you really want to do a good job, watch the assembling the assignment video first. When you get when you get to video 6, preparing, in this case, the tangerine, 6 through 14 is me actually working on the assignment. So skip ahead to 14 and watch that one, and I'll be rambling and exhausted and whatever, and then come back to video 6 and watch your way up through all that. It's a long haul, but I think it's worth it. You'll get some really great results. Okay, have fun with these. This is very important. Make sure to ask me questions if you have any. I'll be happy to make short Q&A videos throughout the week to talk about it. If you end up emailing me, though, like the day it's due, if I miss that email or if I'm away from my computer or any of that, then you may have put it off too long. So make sure you get those questions in bright and early so that I can answer them. That's about it. The other thing is double check the assignment. It may start here. It may be next week. I'm going to start having you guys and gals post to the assignment discussion area, as well as turning in the assignment file. Make sure that it's read the assignment discussion to see if it's this week. It may be next week. So, all right. Have fun.